I'm Mitzi. This is Mike.
Hey.
Hey.
Sorry, I wasn't ready to start.
Okay. Should I start from the top? Are you down to do that part?
Am I? Yeah. Okay.
Welcome back to Big Things. I'm Mitzi. This is Mike.
This is a show where we talk about a lot of things.
Big things.
Namely big things that we're seeing in marketing, social media, pop culture, and now, to my utter joy, also sports. We'll talk through signals that we're watching that could influence the future of digital marketing. And you can catch the show every week on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. And for the juicier bits, check out our Instagram, engage with us. We had a warm welcome on Instagram this last week with episode 1. Thank you all for your kind comments.
It's been an exciting week.
Yeah.
We're getting like a lot of love, a lot of validation, which is always nice when you're launching something new.
It is.
It's very scary. I almost was like, let's pull the plug. This is too scary. I don't know how I feel about this, but I'm glad it's out here.
Yeah, me too. And I keep reminding myself we don't have to like act like we're different than we are, you know? Like we don't have to put on a persona. We don't have to act like we're experts at this. We're just figuring it out.
Yeah.
We're just being us.
We're just trying to be a little bit better every week. So Thanks for your patience. Hopefully you're enjoying this. If you have suggestions for us, leave a comment on our YouTube.
One note I had for myself was speaking with more energy. So hold me accountable. I'm going to try. Last time I was a little too calm and collected.
That is, you just said, like, you got to be ourselves.
Yeah.
You are a calm and collected guy.
It's true.
Just
all right,
be
I'm
you.
just going to be me.
Yeah, just be you.
All right.
Do you notice something different about me since last week?
You're wearing denim.
Well, yeah, I'm wearing a different outfit, but anything else?
Is this a trick question?
It's not a trick. It's a test. I'll tell you what it is. I did a little tint to my hair.
Really?
Yeah. I went a little darker.
Just manual, like at home by yourself?
Manual at home.
Just
yeah.
like one of the nights when you shower?
I got this little gloss. It's like a brown hair gloss. So I did it last night in the shower.
Last night?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. So I did it because I felt like when I was watching the clips, my hair was just like a little too light.
Well, whatever you did, it looks good.
Like I said, I'm trying to get 1% better every week.
You notice anything different about me?
Yes.
What?
You got a haircut.
Oh, yeah, I guess. Fair enough.
Anyways, if you're here and you're a listener of Waves or Tea for Lunch, you're going to like this show. It's a lot of similar topics, but instead of interviews, you're going to just get us. And it's going to be really fun.
You just get us.
There's still more news, more pop culture. We're going to talk about signals and trends, like you mentioned, and yes, sports.
And we got stands this week.
We do got
Boom
stands.
arms, whatever you call them. We talked last time about how we're going to iterate. We're already iterating.
It's true.
Next time we might have to have a different table because these stands are making it a little top heavy. But
yeah. And the other thing you'll notice is everything just looks better. Like our cover went live. That was really exciting.
yes,
We did this huge photo shoot and I had so much riding on this photo shoot. If I didn't look amazing in these photos, it was going to be bad for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I was nervous. I was nervous about the outcome because I know we've done shoots before where you or both of us didn't really like the outcome. And it wasn't because of the photography itself. It was just maybe it was something we were wearing. Maybe it was our hair. Maybe it was, whatever it could be. So we put a lot into this one and we got a lot out of it. We feel pretty proud with the results.
Yeah, it was so fun to do it. Like that day was so fun. We went in the studio. We worked with a photographer. I got my hair and makeup done, which was life-changing, to be honest.
Done.
Yeah. So
that whole week, I felt like I knew what it would be like to be married to Kim Kardashian or something. Just like,
and you loved it, right?
I'm surprised we didn't have a crew at our house doing all of these things.
Yeah. So leading up to
Can you
the
tell
shoot,
us everything you did?
I'd be happy to. Thanks for asking.
Yeah.
Leading up to the shoot, I did my hair. I got my eyebrows done. I got them laminated. I got Botox. I got a facial. I just did everything because originally the concept for this shoot, like our podcast cover, was a close-up shot of my face. And I was like, oh boy, here we go. This is like I have to immortalize my face and make sure it
Just
like looks
your
really
face,
good.
like I'm not even in it.
No, you were going to be in it, but like I really cared about how my face
Yeah.
was going to look.
It was going to be more close up, where
Yeah.
previously our shoots have been more like styled and there's like a scene.
Yeah, exactly. So
Yeah.
it's still like I'm so happy with the final cover. It looks so good.
Mhm.
But yeah, I was like really like did so many things to prep for this shoot, and literally the night before I've been appointments. The night before the shoot, you were like, "Oh, I just remembered we have the shoot tomorrow." Like I have been planning, and like my whole month revolved around like the date of the shoot and like working backwards to get everything done for the shoot.
Yeah, I had booked a hair appointment, like a haircut for the morning of, and forgot kind of until the couple days before. And fortunately, the timing of the haircut worked okay because setup needed to happen and your makeup needed to happen at the studio. So it could have been dicey, but I showed up, glowed up just in time.
Yeah, it
It
was
was
super
funny
fun.
too because we were like, we're not going to wear all black. We have to like bring lots of color, and so we did not so many different, but a couple different outfits with like light clothes and colorful clothes.
Yeah.
And then the last outfits we did, we were just like, let's just try it. So we threw on black clothes at the end, and then that's the one we ended up using for the cover.
Yep. It was so fun. It was fun. I had like someone like blowing my hair. I had like a Beyonce treatment. It was so fun.
Yeah. And
Do you
Phil,
like doing photo shoots?
I wouldn't necessarily say it's something that I like aspire to do often, but I enjoyed myself. And I was
Yeah.
going to say our photographer, Phil, who did that shoot, was just awesome. He was really good at making you feel comfortable and
He was
getting some poses out
yeah.
of you and some facial expressions, letting you know when you're working or when maybe you need to change it up.
He was so good at directing us.
Yeah.
Even directing you.
It was hard to know sometimes who he was directing. So he'd be like, give me some hip. And, like throw him a little hip and he'd kind of look at me funny.
Be like, not you, her.
Yeah, exactly.
Obviously.
No, you just stand still.
Literally, he'd get Mike in his pose and like you would just stay still for 30 seconds. And I have to do like this whole like situation.
Yeah,
You
my
just stay
quads
still.
were sore after that just from like holding the same pose for so long. But we made it. We got a cover out of it. And shout out to our team at Arcade, especially I'd say Chester put a lot into the mark itself. But it was definitely a team effort. And this isn't something that we could do at this level if we didn't have
For sure.
an agency.
For sure. We are so lucky and blessed.
Yes.
Yes. Hashtag blessed. Well, this is going to be a good show. We have a few things to cover. We're going to be talking about. Here's a quick summary of what we're going to talk about.
Yeah, take us through it, Mitzi.
So our latest chaotic TikTok fixation is Nutter Butter. Everyone's talking about Nutter Butter. We will be talking about Nutter Butter on this episode. We're 3 weeks into the school year, and college students have given up on reading. Amazon Prime is set to debut the hockey version of NFL's Red Zone, but it's going to be a hockey version, so NHL.
It's a hockey version of the football Red Zone.
Got it.
Yeah. Just notes on my script.
Who wrote this? I wrote the first two, as you can
And in
probably
things that
tell.
nobody asked for, Snapchat keeps trying to have a counterpoint to everything as they push their AR glasses forward. Yeah, that was a edit that I did on your initial script.
I posted a story yesterday about how you gave me feedback,
I know.
and it was very demure and very classy. Just for the record, this is not very demure and very classy.
Yeah, I'm learning a lot about giving feedback to Enneagram 3 Virgo Alpha female. Yeah, we've
You're
been married.
learning a lot, or you have learned a lot.
Yeah, well, I've learned a lot and I'm learning. Always learning, am I right? Married folks in the chat. But yeah, yesterday it was for a caption. It was for Big Things posts.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I had some thoughts, but I felt like it was good already, so I just wanted to make sure you knew.
Yeah, I just loved
My edits were
subjective feedback.
Yeah.
Because that, like, to me is like, I can take it or leave it.
Yeah, I'd say like a mantra a lot of people have in life is ask for forgiveness, not permission. And I live by that in a lot of contexts. But in marriage, I would say it's the opposite. It's ask for permission, not forgiveness.
That's
So here we are.
great. And that is a life lesson, actually.
Yes.
I sent you a TikTok or a reel, and it was like this guy doing like man on the street interviews, and he was like, hey, like, how long have you two been married? And he goes to like random couples that look like they've been married for a while, and they're like, oh, 25 years, like, oh, 30 years, and like 15 years. And they're like, what's the secret to marriage? And without fail, all of them in this compilation, they're like, just do what she says. Like
She is
she's.
always right.
I sent it to you.
Yeah. All right, thing one. Today in Unhinged TikTok. Before I say what it is, I gotta comment on the fact that last week we were saying how Unhinged is very third wave
I know.
and kind of over. And now this week for the first story, we're kind of celebrating Unhinged, but this one really takes it to a whole new level.
Yeah.
Nutter Butter is blowing people's minds and truthfully making everybody uncomfortable. It's the name on every marketer's lips right now because of their truly crazy TikTok. And I would say, like, I was a fan for a while of Wendy's social content and the way they did Unhinged, but this makes it just look so tame.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, it's like disturbing. It reminds me of that video game that like is really violent and graphic. It's when they like hijack cars.
Grand Theft Auto?
Yes.
Because some of them are
Similar.
kind of like crime scene vibes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
Scene of the crime kind of thing, but it's
Yeah.
like a chocolate bar, like not like.
Is it a chocolate bar or it's like a peanut butter sandwich or something like that? Like a peanut butter cookie sandwich?
Isn't that kind of like a chocolate bar? It's a packaged snack.
I don't think there's any chocolate though.
Oh, really?
I
It's
don't
just
think
a
so.
peanut butter bar? Interesting.
Where's our fact checkers when we need them?
Well, the brand account. Sorry, is it? It's a cookie.
But with like peanut butter in the middle, like filling.
Yes.
Yeah. That's the mess at the crime scene. Anyways.
Totally. Yeah, it's like everyone's freaking out about this account, and it's what I did a deep dive on what's going on with this account, how it started, why it's happening, and I was really impressed to see that it's an account that's run by an agency, which is so shocking to me because this screams in-house. Like, in order to post content that unhinged, that disturbing, you really need buy-in from like the top of the food chain. And so like we work in agency, like to get that kind of buy-in from a client is so hard to do. And not only that, they committed to this whole strategy, this unhinged TikTok, for over a year before it started to see fruit. And that's another thing that's so impressive to me is like this agency got buy-in from a client to do this kind of content. And they also got buy-in to stick with it like for over a year before they started to see returns on it.
You know what I think it is?
What?
I think there isn't really approvals happening. Even you tell this story kind of when you talk about how you got into marketing, and even at the magazine that you worked at, you were responsible for social media on the marketing team, even though you were very junior. And I feel like you kind of talk about that time as like the higher ups didn't really care. It was like an afterthought to them. Social media was a non-factor because they just weren't accustomed to it. I feel like that there's brands that are still like that with TikTok. And especially like older, like Gen X or even boomer, like executive level leaders that are just like, they care about Instagram and probably maybe X or whatever else, but TikTok to them is just still where kids are dancing. So they don't really take it seriously. And I feel like a lot of brands get away with doing things that they otherwise wouldn't because some of the upper leadership don't really care that much.
Actually, so this is their social strategy. It's like Instagram too. And apparently, I was like reading this article about it. The client is like on board. They're like down for this.
Well, I know there's like a social media person
Yeah.
on the client side, but I don't know if there's like much more of an approval process than that.
Maybe,
you know?
yeah. It's like whatever's on their brain. The other cool thing about this is it's run by an agency, and originally, like, there's a lore to this account, and it all kind of like comes to a head with this like person named Aiden. So a lot of their content is about this like Aiden character. It's like they'll have like Aiden kind of like in their content, like the word AIDEN.
Yeah.
And apparently, the root of that was over a year ago. There was this marketing student who decided to comment on Nutter Butter's Instagram account every single day for over a year with just the name Aiden. And that's his name, like his first name, Aiden. And then people in the comments start to like it, start to engage with it. They were also starting to post Aiden. So then the social team integrated Aiden into the actual content. And then that person, Aiden, who started that, eventually became an intern at the agency that ran the social account. And now he's part of the creative social team that runs the whole account.
Yeah, file that under creative ways to get a job.
No kidding. I think it's super cool.
It kind of reminds me of, I don't like, we both follow lots of meme accounts, but I don't know if we pay as much attention to them as we used to because they're just less culturally relevant. But I remember there would be a lot of meme accounts where there's this one account that would always be like one of the first to comment, and they'd always say something witty. I want to say his handle was like Farouk or something like that. And then people would start to even comment and be like, I beat Farouk to the comment section, like stuff like that.
Right.
Or some people would get annoyed with him and be like, get out of here. Like,
Yeah, not
it's
Farouk.
not that deep, or it's not all about you, you know, not you again. Or I remember there's another guy that used to comment on everything about Kanye, and he would always comment the same thing. It was always like, yay da goat, no cap, or something like that. And he was in every comment section. But
And now today we have those like spam bots accounts that are like, DM me this and get like $1,000.
yeah, take us back to when just real people were spamming the comment section.
I know.
Anyways, Aiden got the job.
Aiden got the job, but it's super cool to see Nutter Butter blow up. It's not personally the content that resonates with me. It's like really not my brand of content. Like I'm personally like not engaging with it, but I can like look objectively at the situation and I respect it.
Yeah, I don't think it would be the type of content that's in my algorithm, but I have to admit I spent a while scrolling through their TikToks, just being like deeply, strangely fascinated.
I don't.
And captivated.
I saw a few, and there was some I like couldn't even watch the whole thing. I feel like it was like glitching my brain out. Like that can't be good for you to like glitch.
Maybe it is. Maybe maybe you just need a hard reset once in a while. Just
I
a
probably
digital
do.
ayahuasca. That's kind of what it feels like.
Like imagine you're pitching something like this to a client, like a creative idea. It's like, let's go off the rails. Like here's a sample grid.
Yeah.
Like I can't picture. I don't think I have the like finesse or the like presentation skills to get this.
You don't have the
approved.
twisted mind to even come up with that concept.
I for sure couldn't come up with this. But I think what blows my mind is that they brought this to the client and the client's like approved. Like how did they get that approved? It's like
that's what I'm saying. That's
Draper.
where I really don't think there's much of an approval process. One, because it happened, but two, because it kept going for a year with very little success. Like it's a year later now that they're finally going viral, and it's not even because it finally caught on. It's because this one influencer on TikTok posted about it and her video went viral. And now it's picked up all this traction,
Right.
and a bunch of other influencers started doing similar TikToks to her.
It's just making the rounds in like the marketing circles too,
Yeah,
because
it
we
was
were
like-
like just shook.
It was like lightning struck, and now
Yeah.
it took off. But what does Nutter Butter have to lose? They were not relevant before this. They probably had their traditional media channels that reached their typical audience and helped them grow their 5 to 10% a year, maybe, or just stay static.
So apparently the client is like a company that owns several different snack brands, and Nutter
Right.
Butter is one of their portfolios
Yeah,
companies.
I mean it's
And it
no
makes me-
Dunkaroos. They kind of needed lightning to strike.
Right. That's what is like when people ask me, what's your dream account or your dream client? I always say like a snack brand, because I think snack brands have the flexibility and like to just do something crazy.
Yeah.
But now I'm like, I don't think I could dream up something this crazy. Like, do I even deserve a snack brand? Do I deserve my dream client? Because I truly like, I for sure couldn't come up with this. And then I think about like, hey, what if someone on our team brought this to us and was like, let's try something like this?
Well, the thing is, how much longevity does a strategy like this have? Like they've done it for a year, but without much success until they had a moment. And now they have this big hit of press and
Right.
attention. But like, how much longer do people want to watch that type of content?
True. But do you think it's going to be kind of like immortalized like Wendy's is? Like Wendy's in marketing circles, it's like the example that everyone goes to when you think of like unhinged social content or tone of voice. So I kind of feel like
I don't think so.
No, but also this article I read was talking about how like this is really so Gen Alpha like coded, because Gen Alpha responses kind of content.
Gen Alpha, we need to get you in the chat. We need you to let us know, is this stuff that you would keep watching, or is it just disturbing enough to grab your attention for a moment? And would it cause you to try Nutter Butters?
Yeah, that's the other side of it. But
Because we always talk about how content needs to be educational, entertaining, or inspiring. It's a cliche because it's true.
Yeah, but that's the other thing that I was thinking about with like my dream content, like, or my dream client. Like, I want a snack brand because also their marketing isn't really tied to business growth. It's more so tied to brand awareness.
Right.
And
just brand affinity.
Yeah, and it's doing the job. I mean, everyone's talking about Nutter Butter right now.
Yeah. So I think this kind of content could generate affinity with a very niche audience, but I don't think it has long-term mass appeal.
I want to ask you something. Well, I think it could. I want to ask you something.
Okay.
I was thinking about Nutter Butter, and I wonder if we need to have a space to just go wild and be crazy and just like do off the rail stuff. It's obviously not going to be in our arcades channels, and we're not at a place we can like propose this to a client. What if we had like an arcade burner account?
Would we have an audience on it? Or it's
start
like
at zero, but it can be kind of like, I mean, people listening would know it existed.
Right.
But it could just be like where we just crash around, get a little unhinged.
But I'm trying to understand, like, does this have a niche audience, or is it like just for us?
I don't know.
You don't know? Interesting.
I just want like, are we missing out on like potential?
Do you want me
like,
to answer
creative...
as like with my CEO hat on? No, absolutely. We shouldn't.
Why? Because it's unbillable.
I'm scared to look at our utilization and all the non-billable time.
I knew it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Already we're hemorrhaging non-billable hours just with all these kinds of projects.
I understand.
Right,
okay, well, the other
away.
idea that I had actually, if we're not going to do an arcade burner account, what I think we could do is do a digital art gallery that's dedicated to celebrating human error. So we've been like with Scan Club, we were talking about AI and how AI is like, there's so many, I mean, every day there's like another AI feature, another AI tool, another way to like get smarter with like writing content, creating captions, like creating ad variations, like really like the machine, you can like plug in like, who am I talking to and what am I selling? And it'll like come out with like a million variations of ad creative and things like that you could try and test. But I thought it was like, sometimes when you're looking at content, when I look at content, I'm like, oh, it's really cool to see and think about the team that did this. And I actually saw a piece of content or an ad creative, and the credits to that ad were in there. And it was like the photographer, the video team, the assistants, the set designer, like so many people go into making great, beautiful content. And, you know, good advertising takes a team. Yeah. So I thought it'd be cool to like really start celebrating those like human moments. I think anyone who works in digital content or marketing, like you live and die by your typos, and like you really do everything you can to like avoid those mistakes. But what if we like flip that a little bit and just had like a Tumblr-esque kind of a like page that just like celebrated those human mistakes?
I think you're onto something there. I would love it if it was like kind of crowdsourced too.
Yeah.
Like not just from our team, but
for
like
sure.
From all the marketing homies around the world. All our designer friends.
Totally. Like 5 years ago, if I saw a typo in a subject line that I got from like a brand, I'd be like, oh my gosh, how embarrassing. But now I'm like, okay, like so-and-so wrote that line. Like, that's amazing.
Yeah, I like this.
We love
Let's
to see
ship
it. Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's unbillable.
That's okay.
Okay.
It's like for the industry.
It's for the people.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll keep you posted on that once we get that going, because I think it'd be really fun.
Yeah, start creating a folder for all your typos and the social posts that you publish that you shouldn't have. And
you know what? I was also thinking it'd be fun to like you know those, I don't remember exactly what airline it was, but there was like a social media manager for an airline that just like lost it one day, and they like tweeted some like intentional like profanity riddled tweets, and it went crazy viral, and everyone's like, what's going to happen to the social media manager? They're obviously getting fired. And then the like airline company had to come out and be like, this is what we decided to do with this person. We're not going to fire them. We're just going to move them to a different department. But that was also a moment where like their human emotions got ahead of them and they like just kind of like lost it on the job. And I also want to celebrate that.
Why do you want to celebrate that?
Because it's so human. Like all of us, like obviously it's not professional and obviously it's like not something we want to like model. Like we don't want to like advocate for, losing your temper on social. But it's like, it's showing you like, okay, like there are days where you just like have a bad day on the job. And sometimes you can work under people that like don't support you and don't understand you. And you're using the tools you have to speak out or whatever. It's like not good, obviously. But I also thought that was like would be an interesting example to show in the little gallery. But
I don't think that
you're not
belongs in
into
the same concept, but I think that could go on a burner account.
Okay,
sure.
burner account. Sweet.
All right.
All right, let's talk about another thing.
Thing 2.
Yeah, students
What'd
aren't
it do?
reading.
Why not?
Well,
Like what students? Like university students?
right. So college students and high school students aren't reading this year. And this is not just like my perception. There's an article in Teen Vogue that talks about it. But basically, college professors are starting to pare down their required reading because students just aren't reading. And some of the factors that are contributing to this is distraction from devices or social media. And then attention spans are just getting shorter, which checks out.
The thing is, and I was trying to, while we prepped, I was trying to find some data around this, but I'm just curious if university students have been big on reading for a long time. Like,
Right.
Is this a notable trend or shift in the last few years or with a specific generation, or is it just like it's been like this for a long time?
Yeah. So the article was talking, they interviewed a bunch of like college professors, and apparently pre-COVID, which like everything has changed post-COVID, but
Right.
pre-COVID, they'd like do assigned reading and then they'd ask questions about it and everyone would like shoot up their hands. And so now post-COVID, they're back in the classroom doing the same thing and they're getting like crickets. And I think they're trying to get to the root of, is it that they're shy? They don't have like the confidence to talk about, answer a question in front of their peers. But what it seems to be is that people just haven't done the reading. And so people are like, professors shortening their reading lists and things like that in order to spark more engagement from their students.
Interesting. I honestly would have thought it was more about like social skills post-COVID.
Yeah.
But
you're
I
right.
didn't read much in university. Did you?
No, I barely read in university.
And we went to university a while ago.
I know, a long time ago. Forever ago.
Yeah, like I even the textbooks for the classes I didn't really want to spend too much time in.
Oh my gosh, the textbooks. Do you remember how expensive those textbooks
Yes,
were?
I still have PTSD from those costs.
It was like $900 for like a semester.
I know.
And it was like 3 pages for the year.
Yeah, and it's like I don't know why you price a book at such a high cost. Like it's almost like they think that if you have the knowledge contained in these pages, you can do anything. But it's like I'm not going to take that knowledge and run. Like I have to actually learn how to do this.
Right, totally.
We all read those textbooks and we came out of university feeling like we still had we barely knew anything.
Yeah, and at least my textbooks too were like communication studies. Like
Right.
It's not like a medical journal.
And a lot of it is like business case studies and stuff like that too.
Totally.
So it's like not even original thought. It's just talking about an example.
Right. The other thing that was so frustrating about college is like, do you remember if you'd start a new class, you'd get like the syllabus?
Yep.
And the days of those classes were corresponding to like the reading for that day. So you had like homework before you even started. So you're like sitting in this class, got your syllabus, and you're like already behind.
Yeah. Did you ever do the reading before the first class?
Who
Not
does?
a chance.
No way.
Did you ever even go to the first class? Like
Yeah, sometimes.
I feel like so many people just skipped the syllabus class.
I know. But you were already behind. Like even if you got there on time, you were behind.
Yeah.
Like something isn't right about that.
There's a lot of things that aren't right about the school system. It's a racket, I'm telling you.
Well, we can move on to the next thing. I don't want to get into that kind of
You don't want to get
conversation.
my political views on education?
Not
All
today.
right. Cool. We'll save that for once
got
we
an
have a
audience
little bit
to
more
build.
audience
Yeah.
affinity. Yeah.
There you go.
Thing 3, Amazon is going to debut NHL's version of the NFL's Red Zone for the 2024 regular season.
NHL version of the NFL Red Zone. Got it.
Say that 5 times fast. So we talked about Amazon last week, just like we talked about unhinged stuff. We've got a bit of a theme going already, just 2 weeks in. Because we talked about them last week because Amazon Prime has a Thursday Night Football deal and they're testing AI features and all that stuff. Go back to episode 1 and listen to that. But it seems like they're pushing even further into the sports category with the NHL, whose regular season is starting just in a matter of weeks. So a little bit of context into what NFL's Red Zone is, just so you can understand what the NHL and Amazon Prime is trying to do. NFL Red Zone is a program on Sundays because most of the NFL's games fall on Sunday. It's probably like 25, 28 games or something like that that happen on Sundays.
In one day?
There's a morning slate and an afternoon slate, and that's what's captured in Red Zone. None of the primetime games are in Red Zone, so Thursday Night Football, Sunday Night Football, Monday Night Football, those are all single primetime games. Those are outside of Red Zone. But Red Zone is basically 5 hours of nonstop programming from the beginning of the morning slate to the end of the afternoon slate on Sundays. And the best part about it is that there's no commercials, because more and more as you watch single games in any sport, there's so many commercial breaks and they're long. It almost feels like, I have to check this in terms of the actual times, but sometimes it feels like you're watching more commercials than you are actually watching sports. So that's what Red Zone does. And it's just this like nonstop adrenaline hit. It's great for people that like betting, which sports betting is really taken off as regulations have changed. Not me. But it's also great for people in fantasy sports. Like if you've drafted players on a team and you're competing with your friends and you have specific players that you want to watch, you get all the big plays and you don't miss a thing. So that's what makes NFL Red Zone interesting. And that's what it sounds like Amazon Prime is trying to tap into with the NHL.
Yeah.
The interesting thing is they're going to be doing it on Thursday nights, which I thought was odd because that it's at the same time as their Thursday Night Football programming, which just seems like you're kind of splitting your audience. But then it's also interesting because NHL's games aren't as concentrated in a single day as the NFL's are. So where the NFL on Sunday, you're getting like 26 games or whatever in that 5 hour window. Thursday night for hockey maybe there's like 5 or 6, So, and there's not a red zone. There's not like a scoring zone where you know that a touchdown is about to happen. It's just like constant back and forth. So I kind of wonder if in the NHL's version, if maybe some of what you're going to be seeing is going to be after it happened, as opposed to, it's almost like highlights, but just moments later, as opposed to highlights hours later once the game is done, So curious to see what's going to happen with that, how it'll be received. I'm going to try it. I'm going to watch it and see what happens.
Oh, you are?
Yeah, sports, baby. You are too.
No.
By proxy.
I don't know about Red Zone. I've really progressed in my journey as an NFL fan this year. The one thing that I cannot get into is Red Zone. It's so intense. And I think I just get so wrapped into one game and those players and everything leading up to that game. And then it's like I'm watching that game and then suddenly they're switching to another game. And it's like a whole other set of players. And you're like, well, wait, what happened to that other game?
That's interesting.
And
yeah, because that is, now that you're saying that is kind of taking away the things that you like more, which is like the in-between moments. I'm like, give me the splash plays. You're like, give me the stuff that happens after the whistle.
Yeah,
or
and
before kickoff.
And the thing that's annoying too in Red Zone is like there'll be like an injury on the field, and like they'll do like a whole like replay, slow motion. This is what happened. Look at this guy. He's on the floor, and like let's see what kind of like coming in, and it's like going to the next game, and this guy scored a touchdown. It's just like the emotional roller coaster. Like I want to know what happened to that injured player.
Yeah,
and
they
also
cut away
like
too quickly sometimes.
Yeah, and I'm like, but where do I find out what happened? And then when they go back to the game, it's like the game continues and goes on.
Right. Yeah, that's interesting. It's kind of like dividing the audiences a little bit, where maybe these more intense programs are for more intense fans.
Not me.
And fantasy sports players. And then the single game opportunities are more for like intro level fans or fans of a specific team that don't necessarily just need the highlight reel. Cool.
Cool.
Well, anyways, it's going to be called Amazon Prime Coast to Coast. It'll be happening on Thursdays at 7 p.m. starting October 4th, I think is the debut. So check it out. Let us know what you think. Let us know if you're more of a single game before and after, in between the plays kind of watcher. What watcher is not the right word. Kind
Fan?
of fan. Or if you're a Red Zone kind of fan.
Yeah. I'm neither.
Neither?
I don't think.
You went from like, yeah, I'm really getting into sports now to like, yeah, I don't like any version of these games.
I just, yeah, I don't know. Doesn't sound like it's for me.
Before we move on, I think one of the things and one of the reasons I thought this was an interesting story is it reminds me of a signal that we talked about a few months ago with Scan Club at Arcade, where streaming services were starting to change the way that they do programming for TVs and movies, to be less like complex plots and more what they called for second screen watching. And that was sorry, I'm stumbling over my words here. That was a response to what they perceived audiences to be doing while watching, which is mostly being on their phone or talking to each other or even watching in groups.
Right.
And the shows needing to be simple enough and even like repetitive enough that if you're distracted, you're not missing the plot. And that was super interesting. And we started to see signals too around music getting shorter and songs getting shorter because people have shorter attention spans, but also because of algorithms and social platforms where these songs are getting clipped. And even some of them are getting popular because of their use on a channel like TikTok or something like that.
Yeah, I think all of our attention spans are shorter. I also find that like for me to sit for 2 hours and watch something, like it's really hard for me to just focus on one thing.
It's true. Yeah.
Like, and so actually there's this influencer I follow, Tinks. She rates shows and movies based on like how much she's paying attention to her phone while she watches them. So some shows she's like, I didn't even look at my phone. So you know, like, okay, that's a good show. Or you're like, oh, I was like on my phone like half the time. You're like, pretty average, you know? So that's kind of like how we're watching content, at least television.
Yeah, it's been honestly a big shift for you because we used to love movies. Used to love watching movies. We'd watch movies at home. We'd go to the theater. We'd get popcorn and Diet Coke.
Yeah.
And candy, the whole gamut. But now it's like, I'll suggest movies sometimes and you're like, nah, do we need to?
I just don't find movies like that engaging these days. And I feel bad because like I really respect the art of filmmaking. Like I really do see like the humans behind the camera. Yeah, I just kind of feel guilty about it because like it is like a beautiful thing. Like filming and like storytelling through film, like it's a beautiful thing. And like I'm a fan of like the Oscars and like, you know, that kind of stuff. But I just find movies kind of boring these days. Like it's just really hard to sit and engage. And it's funny because like I also like long form content, but like I just have a hard time with like scripted movies, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's been a really tough season for me in movies.
They're just not second screen enough for you.
Maybe. And it reminds me, I'm reading Matthew Perry's memoir, which is really good. I'm actually listening to it. So I'm like hearing him talk.
Okay.
But he talked about in his book about when Friends aired. And when it aired, it became like the #1 show. And it got this like really like special primetime spot. And it was at like 9 p.m. on a Thursday. And he reminded listeners in the book that in those days you planned your life around the shows you would watch. So you'd like rush home to be able to watch the show. And then, so that was a huge deal, like when you were positioned in the evening, and that would like help catapult the show, or like you have to earn certain spots and like get certain ratings. But now, since like we can access anything and any show and any piece of content at any time, it just makes it feel like a little like less special. You almost like need the second screen to prop up these shows that make you even want to watch it. Like sometimes those shows, like reality shows, that I want to watch because everyone's talking about it. So like it's part of like the marketing for that show is my second screen.
Yeah, like half the fun of consuming a show or a movie at this point is like reacting with your friends or this cohort of people that are consuming it in real time and reacting to it at the same time.
Totally.
Right?
Like having a take on it.
Yeah, like we were late to Game of Thrones, but that was a huge part of Game of Thrones being so popular was People anticipated Sunday nights when the new episode came out. Everyone was reacting to it, and if you weren't, you were missing out.
Yeah, that reminds me, in university, I interned in DC, and like our whole house, it was like 50 interns. On Thursday nights, I'm pretty sure it was Thursday nights, the whole house would gather for two shows. And one was The Office, which
Amazing.
I didn't watch. I skipped that gathering. Yeah, I know. Can you believe it? I'm like, love The Office now. The other one was Project Runway, which was where me and my friends hung out. And it's so funny because like that was a big part of our social life, like getting together with your friends and watching the show that would air on TV at a certain time.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
crazy, but like we don't really like watch shows with our friends anymore. I kind of want to though,
With our friends, like our actual friends,
like
or just like
as
an
a
online
social
community?
activity. Yeah, in real life.
Yeah.
I
Not
kind of
in
was
real life.
thinking we should maybe have a watch party for the Golden Bachelorette.
Well, I was just remembering, I feel like there was a little bit of that even like 4 or 5 years ago, pre-COVID, but like friends getting together to watch The Bachelor and
Yeah.
stuff like that. And even speaking of fantasy sports before, sometimes people will even do pools around shows like that.
Yeah.
Like American Idol. And then you like pick your winners and your
Right.
favorites, and you get points for how long your people stay in, and if the one you picked gets to the end and stuff
I feel like that would be fun.
Yeah.
That reminds me of like bingo. We talked about that last week about like
Yeah.
bingo becoming like a really hot social activity
Yeah.
for millennials, elder millennials,
For us.
for us. Anyways,
Do you want to go to the thing 4?
yeah, I'm actually shocked that you brought this up at the top of the because I didn't know if we were gonna go here, but I'm down.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it. Okay, Snapchat is making AR glasses. Tech companies are so obsessed with making AR glasses, which have so far been rejected. What?
They are so obsessed.
Well, they are. They're so obsessed with it. And it's like, we're not there, you know? Okay. So, just so you know, like, who's obsessed with making AR glasses, Meta has collabed with Ray-Bans to create their, like, AR glasses. Apple released Vision Pro, which we both tried a few months ago, a few weeks ago.
It was pretty cool.
Be honest, would you buy one?
If it was cheaper. Yeah, like the Vision Pro is definitely cost prohibitive. If they had priced them at even like $1,500 or $1,000 or just under $1,000, like
It
a
was
little bit
more than that?
Yeah, they're like 3,500 USD or something like that.
Wow.
It's a lot. It's like by the time the exchange rate hits for us Canadians, it's like close to $5,000.
Yeah, shout out to our friend Gary who has Vision Pros and let us both try it when we were in Vancouver. It's a really cool experience because you can like watch a movie and like be in a field. I was watching this like movie about what was the animal? Rhinos?
I don't know. You watched it. I didn't watch it.
Right. I didn't watch it with you.
I
Okay.
watched free running, parkour.
Oh, right, parkour. So they have these like Vision Pro movies that you can watch, and you can like the scene like comes up to you like in your AR glasses. And I watched one with rhinos, and I was like, get these.
You've never been so
This is-
close to a
This is
rhino.
too close for me. And then I watched like an MLS game, but you're literally on the field,
Yeah.
and I was getting nauseous. I was like, this is too much activity for me.
Yeah. It like reminds me of when 3D movies started to become a thing and something would fly out at the screen at you and
I still don't like 3D
make
movies.
you jump. Yeah. They're like a worse version of this by
Right.
far. This is the new levels.
Okay, so Apple released their Vision Pros this year. Amazon also sells Alexa infused glasses with their own sort of like mob boss aesthetic.
Yeah. Google it.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
And so Snapchat is entering the AR glasses scene. They're releasing their own AR glasses, which so far have been rejected by consumers.
Yeah, I just find Snapchat, their delivery of things is like off-putting to me. Maybe I'm not the audience because I'm, like you said so nicely, I'm an elder millennial. So maybe I'm just missing, I'm not the part of the target demographic, but I just feel like they're trying to position Snapchat itself, the platform, as like an anti-social media
Yeah.
platform, which, let's just be honest, it's social media.
hmm
I get what you're trying to do, but it's not landing for me. And then now with their AR glasses, they're trying to frame it as like anti-computer or anti-device. Like it's like supposed to be a replacement for those things.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, I understand Vision Pro's doing that as well. It's like bringing those screens or those functions into your natural environment. But it's just the tone and the message that they're using specifically compared to Apple and Meta that just doesn't sit with me.
Mm-hmm.
It just feels snarky
Yeah.
or like smarter than you.
Totally. And I think Snap's glasses take their like filters and put them in your real life, which like nobody needs that.
Yeah.
Like that seems like a gimmick and waste of money.
Yeah. It's not about, we're not into AR for the filters.
No.
But speaking of Meta, they do have those Ray-Ban collab glasses, but they also just dropped new AR glasses called Orion. And I was seeing some content around those, and they actually look interesting. I feel like Meta is going to be the antidote to the cost prohibitive nature of the Vision Pros. Like Apple's going to be this like premium positioned product that very few can afford and justify.
Mm-hmm.
And then Meta is going to be the mass appeal one that is almost as good. Because it seems like they look more like sunglasses. They're not like those huge goggles that go in your face.
Right.
But they have similar functions, but they're lightweight. You can still see your surroundings. And kind of like transparency mode with AirPods, it's like, I feel like with glasses instead of goggles, you feel way more a part of reality.
Yeah.
Like when I was trying the Vision Pro, I'm sure you get used to it, but they're heavy.
Yeah, they do feel like goggles.
Yeah, and it still feels like even though you can see through them, that you're separate from what you're seeing.
They are heavy because Gary, who bought them, whose glasses we tried, he was doing like neck exercises to make his neck like stronger.
Yeah, shout out to Gary.
Respect.
Drop your neck routine. But I don't know if he did that for Vision Pro or just because he wants a strong neck.
Oh, who knows?
Just wants to be a thick neck daddy, you know? I kind of want to be a thick neck daddy too. Say that 5 times fast. Back to the AR glasses.
Totally. It's not for me. I feel like the theme of this episode is like, this is not for me.
I'm just blushing because I said thick neck daddy.
I can't believe you said that.
I know. I don't have anything else to say about that.
The only thing I have to say is that like Snapchat can do whatever it wants, and it's just like a space I avoid as a consumer and as a parent.
Right.
End of story.
Yeah. Miss me with Snapchat.
Miss me with Snapchat.
You heard it here first. I'm still an Instagram guy, and I think I'm going to eventually try the Meta glasses.
Okay. I could see you rocking those.
Yeah, they kind of look like creative director glasses too, so it's like a good aesthetic.
Too bad you weren't the creative director.
I know, but I'm still like an agency guy.
Totally, yeah.
You know?
You're the CEO.
Yeah, I guess some days.
Janitor some days.
Well, like usual, we didn't really plan how we were going to end this thing, but
Here
I
we
do
go.
have our infamous gong. So, any last words?
No.
Instagram, like, subscribe. Check us out on YouTube.
Thank you for listening, and see you next Friday.
Let us know your favorite AR glasses.
I hate that thing.
Why? This is the real stuff.
It's too loud.
It's like a legit drum brand.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's like an
Quality.
actual like instrument.
Only the best for big things.